Are you ready to unlock the secrets of brand innovation? Here you'll discover unexpected ways to make your brand soar in value. Get ready for inspiring stories, actionable tips, and insights you'll need to build your brand and learn an entirely new way to fly. This is the Hummingbird Effect. And now your host, Wendy Coulter.
Hi, I'm Wendy Coulter, President and CEO of Hummingbird Creative Group, and we help CEOs and marketing leaders unlock the power of their brands. For years, business leaders have focused on marketing tactics, but what I believe is really important is building a strong brand. Have you experienced a hummingbird effect? Like the coevolution of the hummingbird and the flower, this is when small innovations in your marketing, branding, or sales result in big changes in another area of your business, like an increased valuation, a new product launch, or an operational breakthrough, or even a big culture change. Today, I have my marketing strategist from Hummingbird Creative Group with me, Hanna. Welcome to the show today.
Thanks, Wendy.
It's great to see you.
You too. Happy to be here.
I hear that you're the problem. It's you.
Yes, we were trying to solve a problem this morning, and I was the whole problem. So I quoted Taylor Swift, you guys might know of her, and said, "It's me. Hi, I'm the problem."
Yeah.
It's me.
So, and then there's a problem with bananas. We're just going to do fun facts today, guys. Hannah's the butt of that for me today. Something about bananas.
Yeah.
Bananas are not going to work out for Halloween.
So my friend group, we all bought banana costumes, I don't know how many years ago. And it's really funny because when we were in college, we'd go all out and there'd be a lot of bananas. And they were expensive. I mean, for a banana costume. So I said, we're going to wear them until they die. But then this morning, the Carolina mascot wore a banana to announce that the Savannah bananas are coming. And I can't wear what he wears. We're going to need a new. Anybody have a really funny group costume? We have babies now. That has to have a baby version.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
but we have to
I
switch.
love seeing all the bananas every year, but I know that you are not going to support anything that comes out of UNC, so go Pack.
Go Pack forever.
So I'm really excited about today's guest, Jenn McEwen. She's the CEO and president at United Arts Council of Raleigh and Wake County. And she's going to dive into a hummingbird effect with us this morning. But we're going to make you a part of this fun fact morning today, Jenn. So what did you find out, Hanna?
It's nothing crazy. It was actually something exciting that I saw that you did, and I think it was this year or maybe early last year, but you worked with District C on their project, and that's something that Hummingbird has done once or twice?
Just once.
And you had the same response that we did. It's awesome to see what those kids can do and what they can come up with.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. We've done it now 2 years in a row, and we were brought into the project by one of our board members, John Samuel, who's the CEO and founder of Abler 360,
Awesome.
which is an incredible business here that helps put people with disabilities to work. But the District C experience has been such a blast. Those students are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hearing from 8th grade to, they're in college, and the ideas. And we actually, this past year, the materials we got back from them were so strong. We incorporated some of them into our website.
Yeah.
We incorporated some of them into our event marketing and our social media marketing. It was a great experience, and I would recommend it to anybody who wants to get involved with a student group.
Well, and I'm going to jump back to your question because we did do it 2 years.
I thought so.
We did it with Chapel Hill, high school in Chapel Hill, and then we did it with St. Mary's, which was amazing.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And we integrated a lot of it. We talked to them about HR things, and they did research and found things for like finding employees that we didn't even know existed, like different websites and things like that. It was really, really fun.
That's cool. And Hanna, we have a a commonality with our banana costumes. I have a banana costume hanging in my coat closet.
Oh my gosh.
A number of years ago when I was working on Hilton Head, Sunbum Sunscreen actually reached out and said they were doing a campaign where they were dressing up a public art piece, one in each state, of an actual human in a banana costume to promote wearing sunscreen. And they wanted to use the Hilton Head sculpture of Charles Fraser, who founded Sea Pines and kind of all the development down there. So I went out and met them, and yeah, if you scroll my IG way back a couple years, you'll find me hanging out with the statue, both of us in banana costumes.
All you have to do to find mine is every year in October.
Right. Right. Oh, I love this. Well, Jenn, welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you. And on that note, you've already kind of covered quite a bit of the different places you've been, but tell us about your background, because you had some history in North Carolina a long time ago, and now you're back. And tell us about your background, and then tell us about United Arts and what you're doing there now.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, so I'm a proud UNCG alum, School of Music, but graduated and realized I didn't have the patience to continue to study for another 15 years to see if I was going to make it as a professional opera singer. So I went and did my master's in arts management in New Orleans, and then spent the bulk of my career in Atlanta. I joke that I'm a theater convert. I fell into theater through marketing and PR, and kind of became the girl in Atlanta who could sell out a house to an obscure contemporary play. And through my successes and ticket sales and subscriptions and branding and PR, was promoted to my first executive leadership position at True Colors Theater Company with the artistic director, Kenny Leon, who is a Tony Award-winning Broadway director and regional theater director. So I spent quite a bit of time there. I led a financial turnaround of the organization. When I was promoted, the organization was in a place of financial crisis, and the board was deciding, do we shut the doors or do we try to salvage this? And they were like, all right, we'll give it one last shot. We had this really incredible national education program, the August Wilson Monologue Competition for high school students that we had just launched. And at the time, I think it was in either 4 or 5 cities. And it's like, this is such a beautiful gem, like, let's figure this out. So they asked me to step into the executive leadership role. And honestly, at first I was like, no, thank you. And they were like, well, I was like, my dream is not running a theater company. Kenny's like, what's your dream? I was like, I don't know, but it ain't this. But I was like, well, I love the mission. I'll give you 3 years. And then I stayed for 7 more.
Oh, wow.
But then an opportunity popped up on Hilton Head in South Carolina, like I mentioned, and I kind of rose to the top of the applicants because it was really initially positioned as a cultural tourism marketing gig for the community. But we were able to kind of turn it into a much more holistic government agency in support of the arts. We spent 5 years there. It was a great place to suffer a pandemic.
I bet.
Yeah, no complaints, lots of bicycling, lots of, you have to socially distance on a bicycle.
Right.
But, we kind of got to the other side of the pandemic, and my husband's like, this isn't really reality. And I'm like, no, we probably should raise our kids in a different place. So we made the list, and we're either going to move to Savannah, where he was working and commuting to. We're going to go back to Atlanta. Or my husband had said, like, the triangle has been on your list since we got pregnant with Audrey like 11 years ago. Because of the schools, because of the great university system. And it has everything culturally that we want, and sports teams. It has everything we loved about Atlanta, just we can get around a lot faster and easier. So United Arts job kind of popped up, and I think it was about 8 weeks from when we had that conversation. And then it was like, oh, we're great. We're moving to North Carolina. So everything was really serendipitous.
Fell into place.
Yeah, the way it was supposed to, right?
Yeah,
so
that's great.
But United Arts is the designated arts agency for Wake County. What that means is we support nonprofit arts organizations and local artists through grant making and other professional development opportunities. And we support Wake County Public Schools and our school systems through our Artists in Schools program, which is 46 years old. It was founded by 3 moms who were bringing artists into their schools, and then were able to kind of partner with outside organizations and develop it into this larger program. Last year, we supported 460 school day arts programs across Wake County in 131 schools. So it's,
That's awesome.
and that's performances, so student assemblies, theater, opera, ballet, music, all of it. Workshops in the visual arts and music and dance, and creative writing residencies.
Awesome.
So it's, a lot of
That's
opportunity.
amazing. Amazing.
So,
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Tell me, I want to transition to a hummingbird effect.
Great.
And see what with your background, I know you have so much to share. So this is going to be fun. And I love that it's about art too. And it's just a different kind of focus than we often have from guests. So can you share a specific instance where a seemingly small change in marketing, branding, or anything related to that made a really significant impact in other areas, and how that
yeah, that's
came
a
to
great
be?
question. So going back to True Colors, the theater company, and like I mentioned, we were in this place of financial crisis, right? Staff wasn't getting paid. Before I took over, that didn't happen once I was in the leadership
You're
role.
like, you're gonna
not me. But it was a really scary place. We had to furlough staff. We had to reduce programming to really figure out and uncover what the root of all the problems was. And it really was just cash flow management. But I will also say, nonprofit marketing is so different from corporate branding and marketing, and your budgets are smaller. So really the biggest impact, and your marketing is also, I feel, needs to work hand in hand with your fundraising components.
Absolutely.
They've got to be simpatico. So when I stepped into that leadership position, there had been an older team that had been kind of running our fundraising, and everything was a little bit old school. And, and then there was a younger development manager who had been there with me the whole time. And I remember walking into her office and sitting down, and I was like, we're going to make a shift. And she was like, okay. Jen doesn't usually come in and make these grand, proclamations. I said, we need to shift how we are telling our story. We need to stop begging for money because we are a poor, sad nonprofit theater company or arts organization. We need to be going to these corporations, these individuals, and these foundations and saying, you want to be in front of our audience. I know exactly who our audience is, and they are educated, and they are wealthy, and they are predominantly female, and they are predominantly African American. And this is a market that people want to get their brand in front of. So we need to shift from, please give us a handout, to keeping up with the Joneses. And at that time, the budget, especially because we had cut down our number of shows at that point, the budget was probably 1.2, with about $500,000 of that coming from contributed income, from sponsorships, donations. And in about a season and a half, we were doing 1.3 in fundraising.
Awesome.
Yeah. So 18 months, we more than doubled what we were bringing in contributed revenue. And also that, helped us diversify our funding streams. So it was all pretty evenly divided between corporate, individuals, foundation, and government, at about, 300, 350K a pop in each one of those fields. So then we weren't reliant on one funding source. So if something went away or there was a corporate merger, which, happens all the time, right? And then the first thing that gets pulled back the reins on is what you're doing out in the community. So, so I would say kind of how we message and how we told the story, that wasn't some big drastic rebrand or, new website or a new social platform. It was really just kind of small tweaks about how we talked about ourselves that had really big outcomes.
So talk about that from an implementation standpoint. Can you give an example of how that shift kind of became reality?
Yeah, I can actually give one example that I think is pretty specific. We had a great board member who worked for Images USA, which has been sold now, but at the time had the largest African American and Latino audience marketing firm. And so she was connected at Glory Foods, the canned food brand. And so we went to Glory Foods and said, hey, for a $10,000 sponsorship, we have a set coming up in February, and it's set in someone's kitchen and we'll do product placement. We will put your cans in the set, and people will sit there for 2 hours and look at Glory Foods collard greens or sweet potatoes. And then, on top of that, we were like, and you can have a show, you can be in the lobby, you can do the stuffer. We did something similar with AT&T, and they wanted to do step and repeats for all the opening nights. And so they wanted to roll out an orange carpet because their colors were orange and blue at the time. And so we did the whole orange carpet, and they did all the step and repeat and photographer and all the branding, and our logo was on it too. And so was AT&T. And it was great, but they paid us for that.
Well, so I'll unpack that a little bit more, because something that we've worked with clients on in the past is sponsorship management. And there's so often, there's a list of sponsorship opportunities with benefits. And it's usually your logo can be here, or you can have an ad here. And very rarely do the companies negotiate or try to get that to be different. You opened it up from the beginning. You said you can have product placement. We can do something custom for you. That gives the sponsor so much more value than a checklist of your logo's going to go here. You get to, have an ad here. You integrated them into.
Yeah, I think trying to get that conversation is the first step, right?
Yeah.
Because yes, of course we have our sponsor benefit package, and
Right.
it has the tickets to opening night and your program ad and all the things. With Glory Foods, they had a table and a coupon stuffer. So everyone got whatever, buy one, get one cans or whatever,
Right.
who knows?
But that's
yes,
what
it
they
is about,
needed.
it's what they needed, what they wanted.
Not
and so if
what
you can
you offer, but what they needed. That's a very small shift with a huge impact for them as a sponsor that I believe probably caused them to be back the next year.
Yes,
possibly.
it was.
Yeah.
We had some great relationships. Coca-Cola, another one where we never had a non-Coke product at concessions or with our. And I remember walking into a play rehearsal once, and the director had someone standing there with an Evian bottle, and I was like, eh. I'm like, if Dasani is not fancy enough for you, we'll get you a Smart Water.
Yeah.
But being mindful of those things. But yes, and obviously, and that's these scenarios we're talking about, getting the meetings the hardest part.
Right.
So you do need all those tools, all those written tools, but I've always tried to be very upfront with, hey, this is a launching off point.
Right.
This is kind of our standard place, but I'd love to have a conversation about what you would like in front of our audience and how I can help you.
Right.
My husband will tell you, he's like, I even say it to my kids. I'm like, know your audience. Know your audience.
Right.
Because the more I can talk about who they are to a potential, whether it's a group sale or a sponsor, the more, they can find themselves with them.
Right. Right. Well, and I always tell our clients, if you're considering the sponsorships, don't just accept the rate card and the benefits, have that conversation.
For
Because
sure.
a lot of nonprofits don't open the door the way you're talking about. And I think it's just such a win-win. And so just that little nugget right there is just awesome. How did you create metrics for this? And maybe you didn't. Maybe it just was really growth of sponsorships. But what types of things might you have tracked and measured?
We track touch points for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
That because, as you're doing outreach, individuals, and that's all customer database management stuff, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's corporate, foundation, or individuals, we're definitely tracking all the conversations we're having and who's having them. And there were times that, the artistic director would be the entree into the organization. Sometimes I would be the entree and sometimes the development director. But then what we did really well was kind of that teamwork approach.
Is that something that was new as the result of the shift?
I don't necessarily think it was new. I think we did it in a slightly deeper and maybe more organic way. The artistic director and I had a very, very close and transparent relationship. which was helpful. You know, that is because I could very much say, because he knew I wasn't going to ask him to do something that I didn't need, and vice versa. And then, and our development director, you know, I think just, gosh, I just love, I'm a terrible teacher, but I actually think I'm a pretty good mentor. Like, I just love young, brilliant people. And, you know, I mean, I was also a very young executive director. I was like 31, like what 31-year-old is, you know, like the new ED. But I mean, you know, she was in her late 20s. And so she definitely brought like a supercharged energy. I think we all did, you know, there's kind of a little bit of sense of urgency because we were in this kind of crisis moment at first. And then as the growth started happening, and I think, you know, when I left, the budget was like just over 2 million. So in a course of, you know, 6 years, then, I mean, that's also, you know, 60% growth. That's pretty significant, especially in the nonprofit space. But we also saw, you know, I worked quite a bit. And again, this is, I mean, a little tangential, but we worked quite a bit at that time in professionalizing our policies and practices, which maybe had kind of gone to the wayside as the organization was in this moment in transition of kind of chaos and crisis. And from that, we were seeing foundations opening up their checkbooks in a deeper way. And, you know, we had one foundation, the Zeiss Foundation, which is based in Atlanta, and it was at, I don't know, some breakfast event at the Atlanta Driving Club. And the executive director was a speaker, one of the panelists, and I had not met her. I'd worked with her deputy quite a bit. So I went up to introduce myself, and her response was, "Oh, I actually use true colors when I am giving these presentations as my like example of
Like a
this can
case
be done, a
study.
case study. This can be done."
Yeah.
You know, and the Georgia Center for Nonprofits kind of recognized us with a nonprofit impact recognition in 2013 from all of the turnaround. You know, so, you know, the good news, you know, brought more good news.
Yeah.
As people recognized that, yeah, I mean, but again, a lot of it wasn't, I mean, there were nothing giant that we did.
Yeah.
It was really more how we were communicating with people.
But I will say, as someone who worked for a nonprofit that couldn't make payroll
Oh goodness.
when I
the
was
worst.
in my 20s, that is a huge impact.
Oh yes.
You know, it pretty much led to most of us leaving, but just to make a tweak that could help get through that and the team get deep like that. So you were all a part of it, had to make a huge impact on morale and culture, and
I was
all of
really
that as
proud of our
well.
culture. It
Yeah.
and that's something I've continued to focus on because I do think that particularly in the nonprofit arts, maybe not exactly in all the nonprofit fields, but I do think that staffers tend to get taken advantage of a little bit because they're expected to work for passion.
Right.
We are still professionals. We are still very talented and experts in our field. So I actually used to joke at the theater company because we were you know, the Actors Equity and SDC. And so I was like, okay, everybody has a union here, but the arts administrators. And I'm the one that's at the NBC station at 5 a.m. doing the morning show and still at the theater at 11 o'clock at night. And there's like, that's not okay when you're talking about a choreographer or an actor, which it should be. They should be protected. But, you know, so should the administrators. So I worked to try to show appreciation and try to create work-life balance. And, you know, sometimes it's hard work. It is like this. That's one thing about the nonprofits is that there can be times that your hours are real weird.
Oh, yeah.
But you need to be able to kind of compensate that back on the back end. And yeah, I was really proud because we ended up furloughing the staff at that time, with the exception of me, Kenny, and our development manager, development director, Letitia. And after about 6 months, we were able to offer everyone their job back, and everyone came back.
That's awesome.
Which, yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, that whole nonprofits, like not making payroll. My husband at the time, boyfriend, when I was the marketing director there, and I was like, I can't buy that plane ticket. I didn't get paid on time this week or whatever. And he's like, wait, your job's not paying you? And I was like, I mean, they'll pay me. Just like, it's just
Eventually.
not on time, you know? Like, and he's like, that is not normal. I was like, I know. You know, but we were able to right that ship, which felt good. And then the education program there, you know, like I said, we put a pin in that. We kept running it, but we didn't expand until we also kind of solidified that process of how to bring regions on board and how to make people out, like almost like a franchise model, how to make our partners across the country successful. And so when I left the August Wilson competition, we were in 14 cities across the country.
Wow.
So that was also a really special part of that.
Do you want to stay ahead with insightful tips and industry-leading knowledge to build your business value through better branding? Sign up for the Birds of Wisdom email newsletter from Hummingbird Creative Group. The newsletter is packed with expert advice and the latest trends to help you elevate your brand. Visit hummingbird-creative.com today to subscribe. Don't miss out. Join the community and let's soar together.
So talk a little bit about, you know, the lesson learned from the Hummingbird effect with the original one you talked about, and how you may have taken that other places, or you might use it today.
So we have, since I've been here in the last 3 years, led a rebrand, both logo, web design, but it has also been about storytelling. How do we get our impact across? Because we're not getting people walking in the door buying a ticket to a theater show.
Right.
And the kids are going home saying, hey, I had this amazing shadow puppet performance today, sponsored by United Arts. No, that's not what they're doing, you know? So making sure that we're out in the community, telling our story, trying to reach people through just tiny touch points. So for example, you know, one thing I heard quite a bit in the community when I got here was like, there's really no consolidated place for the arts event information, which there is. The Visit Raleigh calendar is incredible.
It is.
There. Oh my gosh, incredible. But, you know, I was like, okay, great. So if we're doing a web design, let's incorporate a directory for artist and nonprofit arts organizations and for-profit arts organizations, actually. You know, like if the Poor House wants a site there, they can have a landing page there and put all their events. And then a free event calendar. Because with that, it gives, and then we can put, you know, our Google ad dollars behind that, right? We're not trying to drive ticket sales for ourselves. We're trying to drive awareness for an entire sector across Wake County. But just even taking that look at, okay, what is in the month of October? And you pull up a month calendar and you see every block that says, okay, on this Monday, there's 14 events. And on this Friday, there's 72 events. That tells a powerful story about the depth and the breadth of our sector in this community. I think sometimes our cultural sector is like the best hidden secret.
Oh, yeah.
So trying to elevate what everyone else is doing. I've dedicated my career to trying to elevate artists and build community through the arts. So just trying to message, trying to demonstrate really how deep and powerful and how there is something for everyone. And there is something in just about every neighborhood. We just don't always know it. So trying to be the people that let you know it.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. What about your advice that you would give to another organization or a company about how to do something similar? Obviously, you really focused on target market, it sounds like. So what advice would you give to someone else?
I mean, again, that know your audience, right? Where are they coming from? You know, and it can be a simple zip code, region. I mean, even when I was on Hilton Head and the destination marketing team there did an incredible job, and we were looking globally at that, pre-pandemic. But so like being able to hone in to where your touch points are coming from, and then figuring out what that message is that's going to resonate with them. That's, I think that's kind of the key. I mean, also, someone asked me why I was the choice for my current job or what I brought to the team that was different. And I was like, well, I'm not afraid of hearing no. So I think just like taking that risk.
Very important in the nonprofit world.
Yeah. Like, hey, I mean, I will cold call in a second, particularly if I've done my research and I know that I'm offering you of something of value. So yeah, just not being afraid of no, I think is a key takeaway, particularly like you said in the nonprofit sphere.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Did you see the idea, or do you today see the idea of innovation and experimentation being super important to finding these hummingbird effects?
I do. I do. And I mean, and I'm old, but I'm trying to do my best to like dive into AI. That also in the arts is a, kind of a balance beam of, okay, what is our policy around protecting artist work, but also kind of using these tools to tell the story in the most impactful way. And I am hopeful that someone way smarter than I am is going to figure out how to make life easier for all of us. Like I think about the people that had to, when I was a young marketing director, and I was like, oh my gosh, why would anyone do this job before the internet?
Right.
Like, ugh, it's terrible. So, like, ugh. But also, I think back too to being a young marketing director, and I think it was like 2006, and I was like adamant that we were pulling all print ads. I'm like, we're not doing print anymore. Like this, it's too congested. I'm like, we're moving everything digital, email, social. And the artistic directors, I had two different artistic directors. Kenny was like, okay, if you think this, like, he was very like trusting of, well, I still think we need to be on like these radio stations. I'm like, okay, yeah. But we're not going to, spend thousands of dollars to be in the AJC. My previous artistic director was much more wary. And I was like, please just trust, please, I promise you. But, I mean, and then I moved to Hilton Head Island, which is a much older demographic. And they were still getting newspapers, like the Island Packet,
Right.
so delivered to their homes. And I was like, you guys, it's 2017. This is weird, like, but again, like it is like, I don't know. I just, I know that the next great thing is coming. And I just hope that like, I'll jump on the coattails and figure out how to use it the best for us.
Love that. That's what we're always doing in marketing, is learning those new things that are hitting us over the head every day. So you've seen Hanna like taking frantic notes.
Can't read it out.
But she does this, and then she just comes out with amazing insights and questions. So what you got for us?
But before I go on to innovation and print ads, sometimes being innovative is not thinking too hard.
Oh my God, it's so true, isn't it?
I mean, if newspaper works, then newspaper works, and not going in and just being like, well, I'm going to move you guys to imagine moving the whole island to a digital platform. They'd be like, no. So knowing when to just, go back to the roots, and everything's just a reinvention of what we've already done in a different way. So sometimes it's a little bit easier than
I totally agree. And again, it's knowing your community, knowing your audience, right?
And not thinking you're better than what they are.
Agreed.
Which is hard to do sometimes. But yes, I did take a lot of notes, and so this will be long-winded. I apologize. So to kind of just recap where we were and what your hummingbird effect was, it really sounded like to me was when you went in, you didn't throw it all away, which I think is your hummingbird effect, is you go in and you find where you need to focus, and that then can, what is it? That can
augment what you already had that was working.
Exactly. Right. So when you were speaking about it, you really understood your audience. You knew what sponsors were going to fit in to your audience, which was a big piece of what people were kind of missing. So instead of asking 1,000 companies, hey, will you please sponsor this? You instead were intentional about who and why you were asking. You can still ask 10 companies, but you went to them with an offer that wasn't generic. And then it resulted in outcomes for brands that then want to continue because it was successful and they saw that. So then I kind of took a note of how we could bring this into our lives or into our businesses. And it's one to just know where you need to go and focus on how to get there. You can do it all, but you'll just do it all good. If you focus on just those few changes, you can do it great. And then once you're stable in those areas, you can focus on something else and kind of, you'll see what's working, and then you'll find another discrepancy that you need to go fix. So that's a really good thing to remember, as we can't do it all. And then I wrote down not being afraid of no, because you're well researched. So if you know your audience, if you do the back work and don't just throw it all against the wall, then people won't really tell you no, because you're taking them solutions that are going to work for them.
I love that, though. I love the piece about like knowing where you're going, and then what's the next.
Right.
And, that was one thing that I used to say at the theater company too, after we had gotten into this healthy space,
Right.
that I was like, well, now we're able to take advantage of all these opportunities that are coming our way because we're more nimble.
Yeah. Right.
Like there's once you have that more sustainable model, excuse me, you can take a little more risk.
Right.
Which gives you opportunity to say, oh, okay, great. This worked really well here. Now, what is this next big thing that I can take what we learned here and focus it on that?
And
I love that.
To that kind of, you've already given some advice to people in maybe a similar situation or just in business in general. Do you know, looking back at it, why you chose just that one area, or how you choose? Like, when you got handed this and you saw all these issues, how did you know to just focus on one? Or how can you advise someone to not take it all on?
Yeah, that's actually, so again, nonprofit being different.
Right.
When I stepped into this role and sat with the board, we had said, we are going to put a pause on productions until it was originally supposed to just be a season of one production. So until we got to the summer slot, and we were going to do the world premiere of the stage play adaptation of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. And then, so step one, I didn't have to focus on season ticket holders or marketing and ticket sales and making sure we had money for production cost and money to get people into the seats. So that was taken off my kind of radar for a little while, which then said, okay, now, and then we also said, all right, we're going to pause the growth on the monologue competition. And as people are calling and saying, we want in, we're going to say, you can, yes, but this year we're staying with these 5 regions. And so we knew how to stamp out that program. So it was able when we weren't bringing on new partners, it was able to, okay, great. That kind of just is going to run itself, so to speak, as far as execution of the program. So then it was like, okay, now we're talking about contributed revenue, right? We're talking about sponsorships, individual donors and relationships, foundations. We also had to think, so, this would have been May of that year. Our fiscal year started in July. We would have already had been awarded corporate and foundation support going into that next season, to which our grants and our applications all said, we're going to be doing these 5 plays and this education program. So honestly, the first thing we had to do was Kenny and I sat down and had to call all those people and say, please don't take your money back.
But we're doing something.
But we have to make this change. And we promise you, when we come out, like, we know we can never make this call again. We know that we have to come out on the other side as a new, healthy organization. And I will tell you, every foundation and every corporation said, okay, you can keep our funding. I mean, it helped that we had that big, like, splashy name on the end of the season that we're like, we promise you. And we did. We saw that show ran for 3 weeks, and we saw 15,000 patrons come through for 3 weeks, which for a stage play is a lot. We did end up bringing our holiday show back at the request of a board member, but we knew that was Black Nativity, and we knew that was going not a risk. We knew we would make money on that.
Yeah.
So that was a smart idea. by that board member, because it did keep our name in the community and make things seem a little less scary for people to invest in. But yes, so by pausing and knowing we had to do some serious financial management, cash flow projections, all of the things, without ticket sales, that really made the answer very easy.
Yeah.
I'm hearing slow down to speed up.
Slow down
Yes,
to
for
speed up.
sure.
I say that all the time, and take a pause, take a beat.
pause. Yeah.
Take a beat.
Oh, you look at some of the nonprofits that did that the best, like Wounded Warrior, and they paused all of their programming for a year to just focus on their marketing and brand. And now, right, they're the largest veteran services nonprofit, I mean, maybe in the world.
Yeah. Don't do all of it good. Do what you can great.
Agreed.
And it will stabilize and you'll be able to grow. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you so much. It's been such an insightful episode.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We appreciate you coming on. Would you like to share any contact information or where they
for
can
sure.
find more? Yeah.
UnitedArts.org and at United Arts Wake on all the socials. But yeah, UnitedArts.org. We have, and you'll find we've got grants, we've got community events, we have education programming from the littles to the adults. And we have an awesome event coming up next spring that raises money for our education programs, Wake on Stage. It's a new event where local celebrities will be doing a variety show of their hidden or maybe not so hidden talents. So that should be really
That's
fun. Yeah.
I might raise my hand for that one.
Oh my
We
gosh,
should-
please.
I don't know that I'm a local celebrity, but
I think you count.
Is it a hidden talent?
What's your talent?
I don't know if it would be a hidden. Well, it might have been hidden for a while.
What's your talent?
Am I supposed to say that, or
Or is
supposed
it a
to keep
surprise
it
on stage?
hidden?
No, it's not a surprise on stage.
Oh,
We're promoting out who it is. Like, so for one example, we have a state representative here, Mike Sheetselt, and he is a classically trained trumpet player.
Oh,
And
awesome.
after graduation, he actually played, I think, with the Marine Corps band, which is a hard gig to get. And then, then was a lawyer, is a lawyer, and now our state representative. So he's going to be one of our celebrities playing. He's going to do a trumpet solo with the Broughton High School Jazz Ensemble.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
fun, right?
Yeah.
We have a former Wake County commissioner who is doing what he has entitled the world's greatest magic trick.
Oh.
We'll see. They're not all elected officials, though. We've got other
Yeah,
folks in the
that's
community, too.
cool.
So
That's
what's
cool.
your
We'll have
talent?
to talk more. Well, I've always danced.
Oh, my
so
gosh.
She's going to do a cartwheel.
I can do a cart. I can still do a cart.
That's what, she just comes on cartwheels. Applause.
Applause. But no, I think tying it into a school.
Yeah. Well, and that art affects everyone, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody. I mean,
Absolutely.
that is one thing. Like, I know our organization touches all 1.2 million people in Wake County.
Yeah.
They might not 100% recognize that that's what we're working on, right? But we definitely have reached all residents through our art support and education programming.
I love that. I love that. Well, I probably know people that we could recruit
So fun.
who
Yes.
would be great for that. So, well, thank you so much, Jen. It's
Thank
great
you.
to have you on the show. Thank you to everyone who's listened today. I know we're taking away some great little nuggets from what Jen had to say, and take what she told you and go out and find your hummingbird effect.
Thanks for listening to The Hummingbird Effect with Wendy Coulter. We hope you found this episode valuable. Please be sure to rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. To learn more or to work with Wendy and her team, go to hummingbird-creative.com.